I discovered my husband's business trips were actually visits to his other family in another state. When I showed up at his second wedding anniversary dinner with our kids, his face went white. His business partners were my parents. I thought I had the perfect marriage. For 10 years, Marcus and I built what I believed was a solid life together. We had 2 beautiful kids. Emma, who just turned 7, and little Jake, who's 5. We lived in a nice suburban house with a fenced backyard and a golden retriever named Biscuit. On paper, everything looked perfect. Marcus worked as a regional sales manager for a medical equipment company, or at least, that's what he told me. His job required a lot of travel. 10 to 15 days away every month, sometimes more. He'd kiss me goodbye at the door, pulling his rolling suitcase behind him, promising to call every night. And he did call. Every single night. He'd tell me about boring client meetings and hotel rooms and the terrible room service he'd ordered. He'd FaceTime with the kids, making silly faces that made Emma giggle and Jake squeal with delight. When he came home, he always brought gifts. Small things. A necklace from a hotel gift shop. Chocolate from whatever city he'd been visiting. Little toys for the kids. He'd sweep me into his arms and tell me how much he'd missed us. How the travel was exhausting but necessary to provide for our family. I believed every word. I was grateful, actually. Grateful that he worked so hard. That he sacrificed time with us to make sure we were financially stable. We weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable. The mortgage got paid. The kids had everything they needed. I could be a stay-at-home mom like I'd always wanted. There was one small thing that seemed odd looking back. Marcus always paid for his trips in cash. He'd withdraw large amounts before leaving and return with receipts for reimbursement. When I asked about it once, he explained that the company preferred cash expenses for tax purposes. Something about write-offs. I didn't understand business finances, so I accepted it. My parents were weirdly invested in Marcus's career, more than seemed normal. They'd call every week, asking detailed questions about his trips. Where was he going? How long would he be gone? Was the business doing well? I thought they were just being supportive. Proud that their daughter had married a successful man with a stable career. My father owned a consulting firm. He'd sometimes mention wanting to collaborate with Marcus on business ventures. I thought it was sweet that they got along so well. God, I was naive. Everything shattered on a Tuesday afternoon in March. Marcus had left that morning for a week-long trip to Phoenix. Arizona, he'd said. Big potential client. Could be a career-making deal. He'd kissed me goodbye, ruffled Jake's hair, told Emma to be good for Mommy. Around 2 p.m. I got a call from his office. His actual office in Denver, not a client. His assistant, Jennifer. "Hey, I'm so sorry to bother you," she said. "But Marcus left his personal laptop here yesterday. I know he's out of town, but he has a document on there that I need to send to a client. Would you mind if I walked you through accessing it? It'll just take a minute." "Oh, sure," I said, but he took his laptop with him. His work laptop, yeah, but this is his personal one, the black one. He left it on his desk. My stomach did a small flip. Marcus had 2 laptops. Jennifer walked me through finding the file on his desktop. I located it and emailed it to her. But before I closed the laptop, I noticed a folder I'd never seen before. It was labeled Arizona Family. My hand hovered over the trackpad. A normal person would have closed the laptop right then, respected privacy, trusted their spouse, but something in my gut, some instinct I'd been ignoring for years, made me click. The folder opened. Inside were hundreds of photos. Marcus with a woman I'd never seen. Beautiful, dark hair, bright smile, his arm around her waist in front of a house, the 2 of them on a beach. At a restaurant, in bed together, her head on his chest. I kept scrolling, my hands shaking so badly I could barely control the trackpad. Photos of Marcus holding a toddler, a little girl with his eyes, maybe 2 years old, the 3 of them together looking like a family. The photos were dated. The most recent was from 3 days ago. The oldest was from 3 years back. I couldn't breathe. Literally couldn't pull air into my lungs. I sat there gasping like a fish out of water while my entire world disintegrated around me. When I could move again, I started searching the laptop methodically, like I was having an out-of-body experience, like I was watching someone else's hands open files and click through folders. I found a calendar, not his work calendar, a personal one with color-coded blocks. Blue blocks said Phoenix home. Green blocks said Denver home. They alternated, perfect 2-week rotations. When Marcus told me he was on business trips, he was at his Phoenix home. When he was with us, the calendar said Denver home, like we were both just. Assignments, scheduled blocks on a calendar. I found Zillow bookmarks. A house in Scottsdale purchased 2 years ago, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a pool, beautiful Spanish-style architecture. Purchase price, $450,000. We'd been renting our house. Marcus always said we needed to save more before buying, that the market was unstable, that we should be patient. But he'd bought a house in Arizona, with her. The text messages were worse. Conversations with someone listed as R discussing their anniversary dinner next week at a restaurant called the Phoenician. She was excited, talking about what dress to wear. How her mother was watching the baby so they could have a romantic evening. Their anniversary, next week. My brain couldn't process it. We'd been married for 10 years. How could he have an anniversary with someone else? Then I found the bank statements, an account I'd never known existed. Joint account, Marcus and Rebecca Sterling. Rebecca, that was her name. Regular deposits from a business called Morrison Consulting Group, my father's company. My parents' company was depositing money into my husband's secret bank account. $4,000 every month for the past 3 years. Over $200,000 total. I ran to the bathroom and vomited. When I could stand up again, I went back to the laptop with trembling hands. I needed to understand, needed to see the full scope of the nightmare. I found contracts. Official-looking documents between Marcus Sterling and Morrison Consulting Group for regional business development services. Fake contracts. Elaborately constructed lies with my father's signature at the bottom. I found old text messages between Marcus and my mother, hundreds of them, discussing keeping things separate, and she's better off not knowing, and the children shouldn't be exposed to complications. One message from my mother stopped my heart. We should have encouraged you to marry Rebecca from the start, but what's done is done. At least this way you have both. Both like we were both. What? Options, backup plans. I kept digging, found a marriage certificate. Marcus Sterling married Rebecca Morrison 3 years ago. His middle name was listed as James instead of Jonathan on this certificate. Close enough to be him, different enough to maybe. Maybe slip past background checks. How was this legal? How was any of this legal? I spent the next 3 days barely functioning. I fed the kids, went through the motions, smiled when I needed to, but inside I was plotting. I couldn't confront Marcus on the phone. Couldn't give him time to prepare. Couldn't let him spin this with his silver tongue and convincing lies. I needed leverage. I needed proof. I needed to understand exactly how deep this went. I hired a private investigator, a woman named Sarah who came highly recommended. I showed her everything I'd found, and her face cycled through shock, disgust, and finally grim determination. I've seen some things in this job, she said, but this is next level. Let me dig. Sarah called me back 3 days later, asked if I was sitting down. I wasn't, but I said yes anyway. Your husband is committing bigamy, she said bluntly. He's legally married to both you and Rebecca Morrison. The name variation was enough to slip through. He's been doing this for 3 years. And my parents? That's where it gets worse. She paused. Your parents orchestrated this. From what I can piece together from bank records and communications I've accessed, they arranged this because they don't approve of you. The words hit like physical blows. What? Rebecca Morrison is from a wealthy family, old money. Your parents see her as, and I'm quoting from a recorded conversation between your mother and Marcus here, better breeding stock. I made a sound I didn't recognize, something between a laugh and a sob. Sarah continued. They see your marriage as damage control. You got pregnant unexpectedly 10 years ago, and Marcus did the right thing by marrying you. But your parents never stopped believing he should have been with Rebecca. So when Rebecca came back into his life 3 years ago, they facilitated an arrangement. An arrangement. They're funding his second family, the house, the expenses, everything, and here's the real kicker. Rebecca thinks you're Marcus's ex-wife. She thinks he's still financially supporting you and the kids from a failed first marriage. She has no idea he's still married to you. I sat in my car in a grocery store parking lot and cried for 20 minutes straight. People walked by, staring. I didn't care. When I could think again, I asked Sarah the question that mattered most. What do I do? Document everything, back it up, and then. Well, that's up to you, but if it were me, I'd make sure everyone involved felt the consequences of what they've done. I spent the next week preparing, copying files, backing up evidence to multiple cloud services, consulting with a lawyer about my options, documenting everything I could find. And then Sarah called with information that made my decision for me. Marcus's anniversary dinner with Rebecca is this Friday, at the Phoenician in Scottsdale, 8 p.m. reservation. And here's the thing. Your parents are invited. They're celebrating with the happy couple. My parents at my husband's anniversary dinner with his other wife. Something cold and clear settled in my chest, a calm I hadn't felt in weeks. Book me 3 tickets to Phoenix, I said. Friday afternoon, me and my kids, and send me the exact reservation details. Friday came. I dressed Emma and Jake in their nicest clothes, told them we were going on an adventure to surprise Daddy on his business trip. They were so excited, bouncing in their airplane seats, talking about seeing Daddy, asking if we'd go to the pool at the hotel. My heart broke for them, for what they were about to witness, but they needed to be there. They needed to be visible, undeniable proof of Marcus's first family. We landed in Phoenix at 6:30, rented a car, drove straight to the Phoenician. I'd looked it up online. An upscale restaurant known for romantic ambience and expensive steaks. The kind of place Marcus never took me to because he was saving money. I checked us into a nearby hotel first, left our bags, freshened up the kids. Then drove to the restaurant with my heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. Is Daddy here? Emma asked as we pulled up. Yes, baby, Daddy's here. The hostess greeted us warmly. Do you have a reservation? We're joining the Sterling party, I said. Table for 6. She checked her list, nodded. Right this way. We followed her through the restaurant, past couples having intimate conversations, past business dinners and celebrations. My kids' hands in mine. Emma's patent leather shoes clicking on the tile, Jake humming to himself, oblivious. And then I saw them. Corner table, romantic lighting. Marcus in a suit I'd never seen him wear, looking relaxed and happy in a way he never looked at home. A woman across from him. Rebecca, holding a champagne glass and laughing at something he'd said. A high chair at the end of the table with a toddler picking at chicken nuggets. And my parents. My mother in a designer dress. My father in an expensive suit. All 4 of them looking like they belonged together. Looking like a family. Marcus saw us first. His eyes locked on mine, and I watched the color drain from his face. Literally watched him go from tanned and healthy to gray and sick in the span of 2 seconds. His champagne glass slipped from his hand. It shattered on the table, sending liquid and crystal shards everywhere. Rebecca jumped back with a little scream. My parents turned to see what the commotion was about, and froze. I walked to the table with my children, my head held high, wearing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Hi, honey, I said, my voice calm and sweet. The kids missed you. We thought we'd surprise you at your business dinner. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it. No sound came out. Emma pulled her hand from mine and ran to him. Daddy, we flew on a plane. Rebecca was staring at Emma, at Jake, at me. Confusion clear on her face. Marcus, who are these people? My mother stood up quickly, her chair scraping. Sweetheart, honey, this isn't what it looks like. I turned to her slowly, let her see the ice in my eyes. Really. Because it looks like my husband's second wedding anniversary dinner, with his second wife, funded by my parents. The silence that followed was deafening. Every table within earshot had gone quiet. People were staring. Some had their phones out. Rebecca stood up so fast she knocked her chair over. Second wife, Marcus, what is she talking about? You said you were divorced. I'm not divorced, I said, pulling out my phone. I showed her photos, our wedding, last Christmas. Emma's birthday party 2 months ago. I'm very married to him, have been for 10 years. Rebecca's face crumpled. She looked at Marcus like she didn't recognize him. You said she abandoned you and the children, you said. She abandoned nothing, I interrupted. I'm home with our children every day, while he's been here with you. Playing house with my parents' money. My father tried to intervene, reached for his wallet. Let's all calm down. We can discuss this reasonably. I'm sure we can come to an arrangement. An arrangement? I laughed. It sounded unhinged even to my own ears. You mean like the arrangement where you paid him $200,000 over 3 years to fund his second family? Because you think she's better breeding stock than your own daughter? My mother gasped. How did you? I found everything. The fake consulting contracts. The bank transfers. The text messages where you discuss how I'm damage control. How Marcus should have married Rebecca from the start. How I'm not good enough for this family. People at nearby tables were definitely recording now. I could see phones held up, hear whispered conversations. But I didn't care anymore. Marcus finally found his voice. It came out as a whisper. Please, not here, not in front of the children. You should have thought about the children before you built a second family, I said. They deserve to know the truth. They deserve to see who their father really is. Rebecca was crying now, mascara running down her face. You have 2 other children. You've been married this whole time. He's been married to both of you, I said. Legally, which is called bigamy, which is a felony. My father grabbed my arm. If you're reasonable about this, we can make it worth your while. $50,000 to walk away right now. No scenes, no drama. I yanked my arm away. You already gave him $200,000 of what should have been my inheritance. You funded his affair, his second family, his secret life, because you're ashamed of me, because you think I'm not good enough. I'm done being reasonable. The restaurant manager appeared, looking flustered. I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. You're disturbing other guests. We're leaving, I said. I looked at Marcus one last time. He was crying now, actually crying. Your bags will be on the lawn. Don't come back to Denver. My lawyer will be in touch. I took my children's hands and walked out. Emma was crying, asking what was wrong with Daddy. Jake was confused, calling for Marcus. It broke my heart, but I kept walking. Behind me, I could hear chaos erupting. Rebecca screaming at Marcus. My mother trying to explain. Other diners talking excitedly. By the time we got back to the hotel, videos of the confrontation were already circulating online. Man's double life exposed at anniversary dinner. Bigamist caught by first wife. The headlines were brutal and satisfying. I filed for divorce Monday morning. My lawyer was fierce. Armed with all the evidence I'd gathered, she went for full custody and majority of assets. Marcus was arrested in Arizona on Wednesday. Bigamy charges. Faces up to 5 years in prison. Rebecca filed for divorce too. Fraud, emotional distress. Her wealthy family threatened their own lawsuits. My parents tried to reconcile. Called, texted, showed up at my house. I had the locks changed. Got a restraining order. My mother sent a letter. Pages of justifications about how they thought it was for the best. How they wanted Marcus to be happy. How Rebecca came from the right kind of family. How my unexpected pregnancy had complicated things. I burned the letter without reading past the first page. The divorce finalized 8 months later. I got the house, full custody, majority of our savings. Marcus's lawyer tried to argue for shared custody, but the bigamy conviction killed his case. He's currently serving 3 years. His career is destroyed. Both families gone. His reputation in ruins. Rebecca and I have an unexpected friendship now, built on shared betrayal. We meet for coffee sometimes. Compare notes on the lies he told us both. She's a good person who got manipulated just like I did. Her daughter, Marcus's daughter, has no idea who her father really is. Rebecca plans to keep it that way. My parents tried to attend Jake's 6th birthday party. I had them escorted out by police. Haven't spoken to them since. I went back to school. I'm getting my teaching degree, building a career, making sure I never have to depend on anyone again. Emma and Jake are in therapy, working through the trauma of watching their father exposed as a liar, of losing their grandparents, of their whole world being upended. But we're healing. Slowly. Together. A year after that night at the Phoenician, I took the kids on a real trip. Disney World, Emma's choice. We rode rides and ate overpriced food and bought Mickey ears we didn't need. On the last night, sitting on our hotel balcony while the kids slept inside, I let myself think about everything that had happened. Everything I'd lost. My husband, my parents, my illusions about my family, my sense of security. But I'd gained something more important: self-respect. The knowledge that I wouldn't accept betrayal, that I could stand up for myself and my children, that I was strong enough to walk away from people who didn't value me. I'd gained the truth. And truth, no matter how painful, is always better than comfortable lies. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. "Thinking of you, hope you're having fun with the kids." I smiled, texted back. "We are, thank you." I'd lost my husband and my parents in one night. But I'd gained something I didn't know I needed. The clarity to see who really loved me. The strength to demand better. The courage to build a life on my own terms. And that was worth more than any comfortable lie my parents' money could buy. So if you've made it to the end of this absolutely wild story, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my journey from betrayed wife to, honestly, I don't even know what to call myself now. Survivor? Victor? Just someone who refused to be gaslit and manipulated anymore. Drop a comment and let me know if you've ever discovered a partner's secret life, or if you've dealt with family members who betrayed you. Because honestly, sometimes just knowing you're not alone in these crazy situations helps more than anything. And if you want to hear more stories about people who exposed betrayal and came out stronger on the other side, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like if the confrontation at the restaurant gave you the same satisfaction it gave me. Share it with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to walk away from people who don't value you, even if they're family. I'll catch you in the next one. And remember, sometimes the people who should love you most are the ones who hurt you deepest, but that doesn't mean you have to keep letting them.